Good morning, everybody. Admittedly, I feel like I'm act one of a 50-part play on the future of work today. And when I first was talking to the planners around what I was going to talk about, I said the future of work. And then I received the actual program a few weeks ago, and there's about 50 of you also talking about the future of work. So I feel like I am speaking to my people. Admittedly, when I hear the word employee, I'm thinking of a software engineer, because I've been working in the world of high technology. But for the last 6 years, after I retired from being a recovering human resources professional, I've had the privilege of talking to leaders and executives all over North America, all over South America, and recently a lot in Europe. And everyone's facing the same thing. We can't hire people, we can't hire the right people, people don't have the right skills, and that younger generation, what's the deal? They don't stick around. So I want to talk to you from my lens around the future of work, and I hope you'll find it interesting here. One of the people that I spent 5 years of my life with when I was working at LinkedIn was Reid Hoffman, the chairman and founder. And Reid was one time asked a question which his answer, I think, captures the friction that we're facing around employees and organizations in the discussion of the future of work. Reid was asked, hey, you got this business model, LinkedIn, like what is it? Is it a recruiting platform? Is it a subscription platform? Is it an advertising platform? What is it? And who's your biggest competitor? Who do you worry about the most? And Reid's answer was brilliant. Reid said, you know what? I worry more about the company that hasn't been invented yet than any company that's out there today. Now, here's this guy who's on the board of Airbnb, the board of Microsoft, the board of Kiva, one of the most successful angel investors in the world, at the front lines of business creation in the world. And what is he saying his competition is? A company that he doesn't even know exists yet. And that's true because today, unlike at any time in history, what it takes to, the time it takes to build a new business, the money it takes to build a new business is far lower than it's ever been. So you look at all these huge organizations that are getting disrupted, these huge industries are getting taken out by companies really quickly. And that's frightening. But so how do you think about building a company when your competition doesn't exist yet? How do you think about building a company when someone could knock your paradigm tomorrow? What skills do you need? Who are the right people? This, I think, captures the essence of one of the challenges that we're all facing right now. It's a hard time. The future's more uncertain today. I was in Spain 2 weeks ago with about 50 of the top CEOs in Spain. I said, okay, how many of you CEOs, and there's about 2 women of the 50, how many of you CEOs have a 5-year plan? None of them. Wait a second, you don't even have a 10-year plan? You don't have a 5-year plan? No, Steve, the future's so uncertain, that's futile. Why would we do that? I said, well, how do you know what kind of people you need if you don't have a 5-year plan? Same conversation last week in San Francisco, 300 CEOs. Wow. So how do you know what kind of skills you need and what kind of organization you're going to build if you're not even thinking about that, if you're trying to survive for the present? So Alan didn't mention this book, but Built to Last is the #1 all-time selling book on leadership that's ever been published. Published in the late or sort of mid-90s. Anyone here know this book, Built to Last? Okay. Those of you that haven't read it, I'm not saying go out and buy it. Please don't take a photo. Wait for me. This book is about building a 100-year company. You want to teach people, you want to win, you got to teach people how to fish and build a 100-year company. And today I was thinking about this a few nights ago with friends over beer. I'm like, how many companies do you know today building a 100-year organization? We could come up with like 2 or 3. It's like, because things are changing so fast, I think if they published that book today, they'd change the title to this. Instead of Built to Last, is Built to Win Right Now. Because if I don't win right now, I got to survive. I'm dead. I can't think about 100 years if you don't have a 5-year plan because your competition is coming out of nowhere. This is part of why we're here, I think. This is part of the challenge. Organizations are not dumb. They're struggling, just like employees are struggling, to try to figure out what skills do I need to be vital for tomorrow. But if you really sit back and think about it as a professional, and I was actually thinking of delivering this presentation to you as a working professional and saying, I need to confess some things to you, it's a great time to be a knowledge worker today. I have more opportunity, wages are higher than they've ever been, unemployment's lower than it's ever been, particularly in the United States, and I have more ways to make money outside of working for the man, outside of having a job than ever before. I can see more of what's possible with my skills and what I could do than at any time in history. That's awesome. That's great. Our kids should be so pumped up. But when I look deeper and I look at the Gallup organization who's been measuring engagement for, 50 years, and last year they said, wow, the United States had an all-time high of engagement. You know what it is? Cue the drum roll, please. 30%. What? How is it possible in an era where employees have more power, more strength, and they also have a public relations department in their pocket right here? I don't like working here. Leaders are not good. I don't like my compensation. Bad culture. Your employee is now your public relations department because of this. And they have so much power. But yet we find when we do the math here, 16%, the number of people actively disengaged. Do you work with any of these people, by the way? None of you, right? You love what you do. 70% in the United States last year not digging what they're doing. Wait a second, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. Candidates and companies have more intelligence to make the best choices of where to go to work and who to hire than at any point in history. Would you agree with me? When you're looking at where to work, you have more information to choose where to go than at any time in history. Yes? Companies too, they can check us out. They can backdoor reference us. They can see where we've worked. So why, in an era where people have the most intelligence to make the best choices of where to work, is everyone so freaking miserable? Why? This is the crisis. But everyone's kind of like, oh yeah, 30% engagement. Oh yeah, we've got a, climate crisis. Oh what? We've got bad actors and prime minister and presidential roles. Oh, they're lying. So what? What's up with that? That's a problem. And so this is what I spent the last 5-6 years of my life trying to figure this out. So let's start with tenure of employees. How long have people been in their jobs? Bureau of Labor Statistics says in the last 5 years, the length of time people have stayed in a company, non-farm workers, has gone from 4.7 down to about 4.2. Okay? That's not dramatic. Okay, wow. All right, but if we break this down a little bit further and we take a look at people over 50 and people between the ages of 25 and 35, we find something pretty interesting. People over 50, yeah, we're sticking around, people. Yes, we do have a mortgage and tuition payments, and it's not easy to switch jobs, but people are staying around 10 years. What do you think the number is when I'm going to put up here 25 to 35? Higher? What do you think it's going to be? 3 days? I hired that person too. Yeah. Yeah, 2.8 years. What? You're leaving? We just did your orientation. What's up? Did something happen on the way to the parking lot in your desk the first day on the job? 2.8 years. Everywhere I go, every country, this is the trend. So I sat in front of the CEOs last week in San Francisco. So, no one's staying in your company longer this year than last year? That's right. So what are you doing about that? You think it's going to change? Is that a fad? Is that a trend that's going to change? They're like, we don't think it's going to change. All right, so think about it. If it's not going to change, and by the way, corporate profits are higher right now in the United States than they've ever been. So why are we fighting to keep people longer, I say? Just curious. If people are moving faster between companies than ever before, and companies are making more money, maybe there's value in bringing a new idea into your company. Maybe there's value in someone solving the problem with a different point of view than the person that's been there 20 years. I don't know. I do believe tenure builds trust. In an organization, you want to win. You got to have trust and relationships. That's a good thing. But that is something that we should be paying attention to. It's really interesting. If I wanted to define the future work from my point of view, this is the picture that describes it all to me. How many of you ride a scooter? How many of you have an injury, workplace injury on the way to work today? This is Bird. This company has existed for all of 25 months. It's the fastest company to reach $1 billion unicorn status of any company since we've been measuring these unicorns. They do not have a recruiting problem at all. In the last year, this industry has gone from probably about 1,000 employees to 50,000 to 100,000 overnight. They don't have a recruiting problem. They should have a recruiting problem. Can any leader in this industry, scooter industry, say, oh yeah, we've been in this industry for 10 years. We know what we're doing. We know where it's going. No, you don't. The industry didn't exist, and you have no experience in it. And does anyone who goes to work for the scooter industry think in 10 years we're going to be riding scooters? Really? We're going to be hanging onto those Amazon drones flying everywhere? I don't know. But it's probably not going to exist. And by the way, if you look at any of the business plans, they're not planning to make a profit for 10 years. So why are people running to be working in the scooter industry? The answer, I think, sort of defines where we are with the future of work from my perspective. People are running here because even if the company fails, I learned how to do something new. I learned how to build a new business. And in an era where I can't trust going to work for GE, who, by the way, lost $800 billion in the last 20 years, the biggest nosedive of corporate performance in the history of America. And prior to that, every business book written in the late 90s and early 2000s always referenced GE, great leadership. Well, they just did a face plant. So if that's not a safe place to go to work, what is? Scooter company. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they're not going to make money, and leadership doesn't know what they're doing. And the product's not going to be around. Yeah, well, that's where I want to go. Wow. That's fascinating. That's a future work right there. Because learning is going to make them more vital for tomorrow. If I learn how to build a new business or I'm part of a team that's building something new in a new industry, I'm infinitely valuable tomorrow no matter what happens wherever I go. My industry gets disrupted, so what? I learned how to build a scooter business, baby. Fascinating to me, fascinating. So people are sitting here right now, and they're terrified. I believe we have a student generation and a workforce right now, it's like freaking out. So I hear executives say, oh, those millennials. I go, first off, I don't like generational categorization. What do you mean millennials? They said, well, there's not loyal. Look, they don't even stick around. I said, you're willing to tell me 30 years ago, if you had infinite choice like they had today, you'd still be working in the same place for 30 years? And by the way, those millennials are your kids. You raised them. Yeah. We don't have a millennial generation problem. We have a problem we've created, which is things are changing faster than our ability to keep up. The skills we need in businesses today are happening and needed faster than our ability to grow those skills. We can't forecast. So how can we build inventory if we don't know where it's going? This is the problem. What does a career mean today? Talk to my kids about this. Dad, I want to be a YouTuber. Want to be a YouTuber? That's kind of lame. No, Dad, check it out. If we create good content that's valuable for people, people will watch our videos, we'll make money. I go, that's a beautiful lesson. Create content that matters, you're going to be successful. But my kids don't know, should I be a generalist? Should I be a specialist? What should I expect from a company today? I asked those same executives in Spain and San Francisco the last few weeks, any of you promising a job more than 5 years? No. I asked employees, if anyone promised you a job guarantee for more than 5 years, would you believe them? No. So what's the deal? The deal is we don't have a new deal yet, and it's changed so fast. But here's an opportunity if you're an organization. We need to think differently about this. And there's some organizations that are actually doing some different things about it. This slide right here, and even if you don't believe this data, if you believe 20% is accurate, if you believe 30% is accurate, is still kind of shocking data. That in the next 10 years, 80% of the jobs out there don't even exist today. I don't know if I buy that. By the way, there's a whole session, I think, this morning, this afternoon, around this topic. Check it out. This is frightening. This is not making me confident if I'm a student or a professional today. What? So what is that? What am I going to be doing then? What's my job going to be called? John Seeley Brown, former CEO of a company in its era was cooler than Apple and Google and Facebook combined. Xerox. Anyone remember Xerox? Oh yeah. When your company becomes a verb, man, you know you've made it. I'm going to Xerox that. He's dedicated his life to education. He says today, this is also part of why everyone's freaking out, I think, the life of a skill that you can use to make a living is about 5 or 10 years. What? Used to be 50. That's a problem. Wait, what? Yeah. Now, that's not true in every profession. It's not true in every sector. But if that is true, or even if it's 10, 15 years, wow. I can't just finish my undergrad and then cruise. Whoa. That's why we have an explosion of online universities, nano degrees, Singularity, Udacity, boom, boom, boom. Amazing. So the biggest challenge for business today is that the pace of change at work is exceeding our ability to be able to scale up the skills that we need. Simple problem, but it's a massive problem. So what are we going to do about all this stuff? If you're in the business and your people are leaving faster, you have a choice. Am I going to try to keep people, or am I going to recognize they're going to leave and maybe I should build a new model? And by the way, the whole consulting industry is built on come here and we're going to help you leave. Fascinating. Spotify, they institutionalized you cannot be in your job more than 2 years. Now again, for the engineers in the room, that's not everyone. The CEO's not going to change jobs every 2 years. But that is an interesting model. Okay, last 2 slides here. I believe today, the people I talk to, is that don't fight for a job, fight to be employable. Employability is the new job security. Don't fight to have that job. Fight to be vital for tomorrow. That's what I think we're going to discover today and tomorrow, is how to do that. And lastly, this is my favorite recruiting slogan. And I tell this to companies in Silicon Valley. They look at me like, what? We're paying you how much to tell us this, Steve? Yeah, my new recruiting slogan is this. You ready for it? You guys sitting down, buckled up? Stay here because I'm going to help you leave. Yeah. Come here, and not literally I'm going to help you leave, but I'm going to make you better for tomorrow. If you come work for me, no matter how long it is, I'm going to make you better. So regardless of what happens in this business, regardless of what happens outside, you're going to be okay. And interestingly enough, today, and this is where another head explosion for businesses. What you can know as a candidate today is more important, I believe, than what you know. What your learning velocity is more important than what you knew. Because we know what you're going to be doing, or what our business is going to be doing is going to be different. All right, have I inspired you? Yeah? Are you ready? All right, let's go solve this problem together. Thank you very much.